was the result that few had predicted. New Zealand had become the first visiting team to win the International Sevens rugby event in Fiji.
Gets away from Salosi. Tanana! And Tanana has scored early in the second half.
And it meant that the new IRB World Series leadership was all tied up again between the Kiwis and Fiji. And so to Brisbane, and the World Tour of Sevens moved on again from a land where everything stops for rugby to the home of the sport's new world champions. It was the first time Australia had hosted an international sevens, and some of the teams here were hoping it would provide the right platform to finally break the series domination of New Zealand and Fiji, who've competed in all 6 finals so far. Well, it was party time in Brisbane, all right, the first ever visit of the sevens bandwagon to Australia. For many of these fans, the first sight of some of the greats of this abridged form of rugby. 2 days and 2 nights of colourful action at the Suncorp Metway Stadium, the venue for this 7th round of the IRB World Sevens. And this was the story going into the tournament. A familiar scene with Fiji and New Zealand dominating the series so far, winning 3 events each. The Australians in 4th place and at home, desperate to start closing the gap on the leaders. Many of these countries just pleased to be on the standing wall. China, of course, hoping to add their name to the points table very soon. A fair mix of support in the crowd from neighbouring South Pacific islands. The 60 here, and this is how they lined up, with New Zealand and Fiji again the top seeds. And note the Australian influence in the naming of the pools. Much of the local interest centred on the EMU pool, where Australia yet again met up with their old rivals South Africa. And of course they would take on the newcomers to the series, China. And early on day 1 it was China who straight away made an impact, scoring first against the Springbok Sevens through Mu Hua. Gassed at it all, but it didn't take long before Warren Fritz adjusted matters. Conrad Yanchis added a second South African try soon after, and 3 more followed in the second half, as China's early expectations were not fulfilled. The Australians were in even more ruthless form, knocking up 9 tries and a total of 57 points against the luckless Chinese. Australian coach Glenn Ella was a man under pressure in the spotlight of the local media. And the Australians once again had to face South Africa in their final game of day 1 to decide the placings in their pool and who would play whom in the quarterfinals. In the end, the Australians paced too much for the Springboks to handle, and they won by 4 tries without reply. Australia are on top in the EMU pool, and they didn't concede a point on day 1. Both they and South Africa reached the quarterfinals. China had a disappointing end to their first day, being beaten 29-12 by the United States. Fiji had arrived amidst a background of internal strife and nationwide mourning after they lost the previous week's competition at home to New Zealand. In Brisbane, they had Viliama Satala back after club commitments in France. And more importantly, they had speedster Filimoni De La Salle returning after a bout of flu. They clearly had a mission and didn't take long to illustrate this, rattling in 5 first-half tries against the Cook Islands, 2 of them from De La Salle. looked ominously strong on the opening day, waltzing their way through to their expected spot in the quarterfinals, along with Argentina. New Zealand, who were champions in Fiji, had an awkward first day, especially when they met up with the tough Tongans, who were clearly looking for an upset. First, Kalfusi gave them the lead. The Kiwis then lost key player Tony Monaghan with an injury. Moments later, this uncharacteristic mistake led to Kalfusi racing away to score a second try and put Tonga 10-0 ahead. But this try by Mills Muliana started the comeback, and New Zealand eventually outscored their opposition by 3 tries to 2.
You probably knew that Tonga, whenever they play New Zealand, they're going to lose.
Yeah, it's a bit of playing Big Brother type scenario, and but we know that, we know that those teams always lift themselves. We have to be better than that, and tonight we weren't.
Japan, who were also in this pool, were desperately unlucky not to cause a major upset, partly thanks to their Fijian imports. Simano Mapileo scoring here to give them a 19-14 second-half lead against France. But this late try by Franck Correon levelled the scores, and the resulting conversion won the day for the French just. Japan also lost by just 3 points to Tonga. In the previous week, they held the third-seeded Samoans to a draw. And that's how the Dingo pool finished, with the Japanese very unfortunate to miss out on any rewards for the second week running. And finally, Samoa, here in blue, entered this tournament with some high hopes of finally breaking the Fijian-Kiwi stranglehold on the series. But they suffered a big blow in their opening game with Papua New Guinea, losing skipper Sam Gibbons, injured and out of the tournament. It clearly affected the Samoans badly. In their pool decider, they met a Canadian team determined to cause an upset.
And a great break coming up here from Mark Irvine. Irvine needs to link up. He fires it over on the far side, and he finds his captain, Gregor Dixon. Not the fastest man of the team. He settles it down. Good ball and quick ball. It's there for them now. And now, Freddie Asselin. Asselin, he has speed to burn. Stanley trying to step the man. Turning, dropping. Now he has to settle it down. Got away from a couple. There's red jerseys on the inside. Freddie Asselin is across for the try for Canada. And who wants it? It's still there for Canada. Winston Stanley. Just slowing things down a little bit. Kicking across here. Number 3, Mark Irvine. He got a good bounce. That's a fine try to Canada. Stanley picking up Asselin. Out it goes to Irvine for the corner. Canada in for the third try. And maybe that is the ball game. Maybe that's a boil over here. Samoa on the inside. Tangatau. In the scrum half is Toa Samania. Nobody in front of him. It's taken a while, but now Samoa will run across and score their first 5-pointer.
Not enough, though, and Samoa were beaten comfortably in the end by 17 points to 7. It was the only surprise on a day of predictable scorelines in Brisbane. It left an unfamiliar look to the placings in this pool. But more importantly, it gave an intriguing quarter-final lineup, with now the 3rd and 4th seed Samoa and Australia facing each other. A great chance, surely, for the home nation to improve their World Series standing. Day 2 at the Suncorp Medway Stadium, and a bigger crowd to greet the teams as we reach the business end of the championship. Quarter-final time, and first up, the Pumas of Argentina. They were up against a New Zealand side with injured Tony Monaghan back in their starting lineup.
Marcio is number 5 for New Zealand, a sparky little scrum half. It's gone to Mills and Muliana. They've got him into the game much earlier than some of the times yesterday. Justin Wilson now, Muliana again. Tanana now, creating space out wide. It looked like it could be on for an intercept. But here's Raoma, now to rush. And it's a clear passage for the captain. And he rushes in. Raoma, quick tap. Muliana skips away. His shot, lovely pass off the carpet. Villen again, he's got Gaitan outside him, he can't get the pass away. Muliana. Marcel Raoma. Oh, that's lovely, and Monaghan, he is all over the park in his return to the team, and he scores a try.
3 tries in the first half, and the Kiwis well on their way to a Final Four place. Final score, 33-12. Having also lost their influential skipper Jack Isaac, injured on day 1.
But it will be Willett kicking off for Australia. The winner of this quarter-final will go through and play New Zealand in the semi-finals of the main competition. First touch of the ball here for Samoa. They're without Sam Gibbons, one of their inspirations, and also their regular captain, Semo Satiti, has not made the trip to Brisbane. So they're down on numbers, Samoa, but they are on top of Australia on the Grand Prix type standings. After 6 events, it's Samoa 3rd, Australia 4th. So if Australia can knock them over here, they should be able to move into 3rd spot, but the gap opens up here. Toa Samania, but it's been intercepted by Pitha. Away goes Pitha. Has he got the pace to get away? Chased over the 22 against the run of play. Cameron Pitha is in for a fine start for Australia. They lead by 5 points to 0. Just when it looked like the Samoans were going to open them up. Pitha, like a thief in the night. Well, the Australians, this is their 4th match, and they're still 2 conceded points, so it gives you a bit of an idea how the defensive line is working, but there it is. It's finally been broken. Down the short side, the Samoans working a move from the line-out. They're in for the try. So they're on the score sheet with the kick to come. Craig Glendinning it was that scored the 5-pointer.
Graham wins the line out. Rowe comes to half-back and takes it up.
And here's Richard Graham now. Graham straightening things up, keeping his hands free. Back to Matt Isaac, chased by Rudolph Balls. Isaac, will he be able to run Australia into a semi-final showdown with New Zealand? You bet he can.
And that try was the clincher. The conversion was missed, and Australia were in the semi-finals.
South Africa on day 1 were unbeaten until they lost to Australia. Their 3rd and final qualified match. They beat China and the USA. Canada unbeaten on day 1. And here they go. Nick Witkowski, one-handed pass and a great pick up by Mark Irvine for the line. Mark Irvine is in. Good skills there from the Canadians. Stratum pops it up. Conradi chase from behind. Still there for South Africa though. They'll get a penalty.
Offside, number 8.
So an opportunity for them to hit back. Conrad Yankees goes into Stratum, involving himself so far in the match. Yankees away from one desperate diving tackle from Gregor Dixon. Couldn't pull him down. And so they are back. Conrad Yankees with the try. That's his 6th for the tournament. The leading try scorer here in Brisbane for the Springbok Sevens. They have 4 or 5 injuries, so they're allowed to call on the replacement pool. Now it's Yankees. Yankees got on the outside of Stanley. Now he gives it to Fredericks. Fredericks chased. They won't get to him. Hendrik Fredericks, the flyer, goes across and scores the try that breaks the deadlock for South Africa.
The resulting conversion was scored, and South Africa, who've lived too much in the shadows of others in recent tournaments, made it through to the semi-finals. Wasali Serevi has long been one of the greats of Sevens rugby. He'd never played sevens in Australia, but on day one, he scored an astonishing 57 points in just 3 games here. An ominous sign for Fiji's quarter-final opponents, France.
So the last quarter-final is underway. Fiji against France. And on paper, you'd have to favour the Fijians. They've got Ferro Lasangavambao in at half-back. Out it goes straight away to De La Salle. And here he goes for the first time. And he's been out of the try scoring a bit lately. But first touch of the ball, number 9, Philemoni De La Salle signals that he's back.
On s'y jette dessus. Coco, on attend trop sur le premier. Non, non, non. Le ballon tombe, il faut monter comme des fous. On n'a pas envie. On n'a pas envie. On n'y est pas sur les ballons.
Here's De La Salle. He has one try already. Correjon's coming at him, sticking on him. Good work by Frank Correjon. So Revi now in midfield. He's got a big ball out wide to Viliame Satala. And now Sektoreki Tawake, the forward. Infield. There's Viliame. And Ferro now gets a runaway. And wasn't that a beautifully constructed try from the roll-away pass by Serevi right across field. And Penny Van Drucky delighted with that one, I'm sure. Out to the man himself. He's got Salosi waiting out at the bottom of the picture on the right. And it's coming towards him. De La Salle now gets clear. Wonderful. And it's Lafarge. And goodness me, the breadth of the gap between De La Salle and Lafarge was huge. I mean, it was just man-to-man at halfway. Well, the sidestep was a mile wide. There is Kamaya for Fiji. He's got real space, and he's got it to Ferro. Ferro might try to do De La Salle, but instead he's giving it to Salosi. Salosi Notenge. Ferro. Lovely play, Ferro, and there is Kamaya. And he is a wonderful player to bring off the bench because he not only has speed, but he is very, very elusive. And that's wonderful play. And another excellent try. Reno looking good. Oh, intercept by Serevi. Can he go all the way? He's got the feet, we know that. Gives it away to Salosi. And here's Salosi Notenge. Floats a pass into Serevi. And Serevi will take it around. And goodness me, the points keep on coming.
A magnificent performance again from the Fijians, winding their way up towards the bigger showdowns. Fiji winners then by 47 points to 7, and 2 more tries to that man Serevi. And talking of showdowns, surely there would be nothing that could compare with a little Trans-Tasman rivalry in Brisbane in the first of the semi-finals.
Rush leading the New Zealanders out onto the park. They've won 3 of the 6 events so far. They shared the overall lead on the Grand Prix type standings with Fiji. No Jack Isaac, so his brother Matt Isaac leads Australia. And they're getting a very warm reception here from the parochial crowd. First of the semi-finals in the Cup competition. First touch for Australia. Matt Isaac gives it out to Willett. Willett inside his own 22. Makes it to the 22. Lays a good ball back for David Croft. Good confident start by the Australians with ball in hand. Willett. Matt Isaac. Now to Peter Miller. Miller. Back to nobody. Danger signs here. But somehow the Australians regather. The advantage is being played here for Australia, and they go wide through Rowe. Over to Ryan Constable on the left wing. Constable can't get on the outside of Craig Newby. And he spotted a knock-on over there on the far side, so we'll have the first scrum of the match. With me is Keith Quinn. And Keith, you're feeling optimistic about your New Zealanders?
Well, I suppose so, Greg, but I think it's interesting that the referee for the game is Mr. Iwashita from
Japan, Shinichi Iwashita. This will be the biggest game of his career, I think, because he's refereed 15 aside at Pacific Rim level, but not with crunchy stuff like this. Even though it's sevens, it's a big one, New Zealand against Australia.
Well, through the hands it goes now. Their first opportunity to attack, and there's the familiar step from Wilson. Taken from behind, 10 metres inside Australian territory. Greg Martin is also with me, and pressure here coming from the New Zealanders, Greg.
Well, right now it is too. The pace is the worry, and there's a man with plenty of it. Tanana
tries the goose step, and it doesn't come off. Gee, I'd love to have $10 for every goose step or attempted goose step throughout this two-day tournament. 0-all the score. An exciting start here. Tanana just trying to wrong foot the cover defence.
Yeah, more shuffles than an extra in a Michael Jackson video. There's Glenn Ella talking to his captain, Jack Isaac, who's injured at the moment.
Croft finds Pither again. Matt Isaac not in straight the call.
I think Australia have lost a little bit at the line-out, not having Jack Isaac. He's been very effective there, and that was a disappointment for them. The throw not going straight.
No, next time, okay?
Yes, you really need to make the most of your opportunities against a class outfit like New Zealand. Roma under pressure there. And Australia have stolen it. Willett. Ryan Constable. Now he gives it to Miller. A foot race for the corner. Peter Miller on the angle run. Did he get across? Yes, he did. Australia are in. They finally have some points to show for the possession they've held in the first half. Peter Miller crawled across the line.
Well, he didn't have a big game in the quarter-final. That's Croft has snavelled up the crumbs. Some possession came. It's been all Australia in this first few minutes. Miller disappointing in the quarter, but he's really shone so far at the start of this game. He cut him when he realised he wasn't going to make it on the outside and speared low and got under the defence. Good try, Peter Miller, the pace man. Tanana, a feeble effort. Newby at least gave it everything.
Okay, this is the best 7 minutes of our lives. This is it. Don't let it go. This is it, Chair.
Don't win the game.
Big one. Now play,
New Zealand huddle now.
This could work in New Zealand's favour, just slowing the whole thing down. An opportunity for the New Zealanders to regroup. Muliana now to Tanana. It's loose, picked up by Rowe for Australia. Rowe driving, back to Pither. Pither, 3 metres out. There's the drive by Australia. It's still there for the green and goal. Rowe, no, he can't get it down. Desperate defence by New Zealand, saving the day.
Body language and enthusiasm is what you're gauging a team's attitude on and what's going to happen. Have a look at some of this. Rowe drove forward. The players over the top. Pither, he hit the ground and still scrambled forward. It's the clean out of the New Zealand defenders that was impressive. Richard Graham about to come on. They do need a new injection. Perfect timing. They need a couple of new players out there, Australia.
Good line out win, and Matt Isaac driving across the line. Can they get the ball down? Yes! Australia, their second try. Is this a boil over in the making? Well, tempers are certainly boiling over at the moment. Rama is in there. It's 10-0.
Oh, here we go.
It's on at Suncorp Medway. Trans-Tasman rivalry. Willett from out wide, hit the upright, shaved it on the wrong side, in fact. But it's 10 points to 0. It's Australia over New Zealand.
But the fact is, it's now a New Zealand penalty on halfway. We'll soon see the true story here. Isaac went low, driving hard. They weren't going to be denied. Look at the determination on his face. The smallest man on the field just drove low, hard. Soon see the ball emerge. Right below Pither. Isaac pretty happy.
Newby gives it out to Wilson. Nice step by Wilson. Back to Craig Newby. Good stuff by New Zealand now. They're under the hammer, but they're fighting back. Wilson. Hills Muliana. Knock on, picked up here by the replacement, Richard Graham. He gives it out now to Peter Miller. It's Miller on Newby. He steps in. He's got Tonana to beat. He kicks ahead. Nobody at the back. He needs a good bounce. He gets a good bounce. Australia surely now are through to their first ever final. He puts it down. 3 tries to 0. Inspirational stuff. Peter Miller. He's been quiet for most of this tournament, but let me tell you, he's burst into action here to the delight of the crowd. The best ever performance by an Australian team in the World Series of Rugby Sevens. They've worked hard at this under the coaching of Glenn Ella, the support of the Australian Rugby Union. They want to make sure that New Zealand and Fiji don't run away with this at sevens. Eric Rush congratulating the Australians. No excuses really for the New Zealanders, outclassed tonight by a gutsy Australian performance.
You've got to remember this is only the 4th defeat by New Zealand in 7 tournaments, and the only other team that's beaten 3 times has been Fiji. Great effort, Australia.
Australia 17, New Zealand 0.
Well, I think a wonderful performance by Australia. They played really well. Their defence was quite magnificent. They held us out in the first 2 or 3 minutes, in which we needed to score points, but we didn't do that, and they really secured the win.
Well, it doesn't matter what sport. What about these contests between the 2 countries? There's something else, aren't there?
Oh yeah, certainly. There's heaps of hype here when New Zealand play Australia, and nothing changed tonight. There's certainly a lot of support from both sides. A lot of Kiwis over here, and of course a lot of Australian support. But all credit to the Australian team. They played very, very well.
Well, after that excitement, the second semi-final threatened to be overshadowed. Serevi had other ideas.
Matingi, Serevi, kicking it through for South Africa is Conrad Jantjies. De La Salle throwing a bit of a wild pass. Now here's Biliami Satala. And Serevi at halfway. Is he going to get away from Wonga Yuka? He gets away from everybody. And so after 56, 57 seconds, Fiji are on the board thanks to Serevi. And it's flicked out to Serevi. See how he gathered that ball in so superbly. Now Ferro has the ball. He's a runner. He is a runner, is he what? Look at that. Try number 2 for the team. 2 minutes gone. Ferro Lasanga Bimbao.
Incredible scenes. Now this is the rugby that this huge Brisbane crowd has come to see.
Ferro is away. Salosi, Serevi. Yeah. Another one. Isambula. These teams are playing for a place in the final against the home team, Australia. That is going to be a thriller, obviously. And look at this from number 8, Viliame. And he goes in. He hasn't scored many tries, Billy. And he's in for his first in this game. This is the guy that last week couldn't go to the party after the game against the New Zealand team because he had to attend his daughter's 16th birthday. So goodness me, he's only 30 years old. And we can do our sums on that one, Greg, but it's a try for Serevi. And this is the Fiji team where there's been real talk of dissension in the ranks this week, with a story appearing in the Fiji newspapers about them squabbling internally about money. De La Salle at the centre of those story allegations. He has scored a try there. What a wonderful performance they're turning on here. De La Salle. And away goes Apolosi Satala. And so the family getting into it here. Try for each of the brothers. So Kamaya's on the field. De La Salle, chased by brave Wonga Joka. Now, can the Fijians build one up from way back here? Rayasi's got it! Philippe Rayasi. What a wonderful story this is. He scores for South Africa. He's played for Scotland in the sevens. He's played for Japan in the sevens. He's an ex-Fijian international who played a lot of his rugby in Wellington, New Zealand.
This is final in the inaugural IRB Rugby Sevens World Series. Waisali Serevi and the Fijians know what finals are all about. They've won 3 already. The referee for this match from New Zealand, Gary Wise.
Okay, we're ready. Let's go.
10 minutes each way. The final of the Brisbane Sevens.
Ready. Let go.
These two sides met in the semi-finals only last week at the Fiji Sevens. On that occasion, Fiji won 26 points to 12, but Australia won the second half. They outscored the Fijians, and what a great start here. This is Croft, up over the halfway he goes. Back to Pither, Cameron Pither. He gives it to John Rowe. What a start! John Rowe is going to score the opening try. An electrifying start for the Aussies.
Well, he started it with the catch from the kickoff. You've got to see him to believe him. All night, all afternoon, he's won every single kickoff, whether they've done it or the opposition. He won it there. He was involved straight away. Croft, first of all, crashed. What determination from these guys. They're playing above their ability. Pither and then Rowe, the dummy. They're playing like Fijians. Under the post, John Rowe, the young West flanker from Brisbane.
He pops it up to Cameron Pither. It's been stolen by Fiji, though. So here's an opportunity for Fiji. Ferro. Serevian now. Dilasau. The penalty will go to Fiji.
Offside here. Serevi on the boil now.
Here we go. They're down by 7. Satala. And a missed opportunity there. And running across for the try, Viliami Satala. That's what they can do to you, Fiji. A rare mistake by the Australian tackler, and they've been punished. So it's 7-5, kick to come from right in front.
Yeah, the tap restart was the key there. They sent the Australians wide, and it was Matt Isaac, their captain for the last couple of games. He just slid down Satala, and easy as you like, he stayed calm. It's as if the Fijians know the gaps will come. They do not panic. They know they can prop in the tackle and wait for support players. They've been under a lot of pressure for the last 4 minutes. Camped down in their own half, and in fact in their own 22 for the last 3 or 4 minutes, in the last 2 or 3 minutes. So if they survive this, they'll come out the other side a much better team and more confident. Not too many teams going to survive that sort of assault. And now Serevi, cool as you like, on his own.
Flies across to Dilasau with some room to move. Got away from a couple. Danger signs here for the Australians. Dilasau just, he let Matt Isaac standing in his wake. Brilliant footwork. The guy is a genius. Philemon Dilasau, that's what he can do to you. He can break hearts.
Well, he has broken a heap of hearts here at Suncorp Metway Stadium tonight. Dilasau off the left foot. Matt Isaac, I've seen him before. He usually comes at the man and cuts down his time and space. That time, he stood still. Look at him, just arched there. Dilasau, that's a brilliant step off his left. He never slows down. He does the quick stutter, but doesn't break stride. Near impossible to stop one-on-one.
And so, right on the stroke of half-time, the Australians concede a 7-pointer. Dilasau got the try. Half-time, it's Fiji leading Australia by 14 points to 7.
Make sure we nail that tackle. Let's not dwell on it. Let's get out there. We need to score as quickly as we can. Must score now. Keep busting it.
Well, I hope the Australians took note of the half-time message from Coach Glenella, Greg Barton. Don't kick the ball away.
Well, certainly the message. Look at Dilasau again down the left flank.
Kicking ahead. He was taken out. Penalty. Late tackle on Dilasau.
Referee had no worries. He's talking to him now. Dilasau, the chip. Andrew McDonald just on the field. It was Yes, it was a slight Hollywood, deserved a penalty, but nothing too extreme in it.
Yeah, just there.
So McDonald is on there for Australia. They've used one of their 3 reserves. Serevi fires it out wide, up over halfway. Here's another attack coming up now. And Ferro gives it back now. Dulles out, kicking ahead, using his speed. He got a good bounce. They're starting how they finished the second half, the Fijians, and now they've got numbers out on the far side. Serevi running to the line, getting it out now to the support and Viliami. No problem. What a start to the second half. Viliami Satala, he gets his second try. And ominous signs now for the Australians. Full of confidence, the Fijians. Great support play from one side of the field to the other.
It was Serevi sucked in the defender there. There was 3 Fijians, 1 defender. One way or the other, they're always going to score. Alan McDonald, the late attempted an ankle tap. Look at that, 2 support players in the background. Peter Miller arrives late on the scene. It's like it's a team of solid tradesmen in Australia who are determined and emotional against their individual brilliance right throughout the Fijian side. That's what's doing them at the moment. Serevi, the shot at goal.
Not a bad attempt. It hits the uprights. Bounces away. So we can't add the extras, but that's a good scoreline now for Fiji. 19 points to 7.
We see Tim Donnelly on our left of Glenella. They probably need to make a change like that. The fast footwork. They go wide straight away from the line out to McDonald.
McDonald gives it to Willett. Willett, over the top it goes now to Miller. Miller's out coming from behind. Miller stops, regroups, gives it now to Willett. Back now to McDonald. Miller. Fiji's defence holding on. There's the mistake by Australia. And now Ferro gives it back to Delazar, and he's into touch.
No advantage here anyway, guys. Lost forward.
So we're playing the advantage, and so Fiji will get the feed into the scrum.
Some desperate, ferocious offence. Well, not ferocious, but more swarming defence there by the Fijians. Put the pressure on Australia. That now takes the errors up for Australia to 5. Only 2 by Fiji. That's a telling stat in terms of the number of times the ball has changed hands. There's a warning here.
Okay. Going through with the tackle, holding on to the man after the ball's been passed. Okay. Touch judge call, we're going for a penalty over here. This man.
Hope springs eternal for the Australians.
The penalty for Australia, which will give them a very good attacking opportunity. One feels that they really need to be the next team to score points here. 19 to 7. Fiji over Australia. John Rowan will at the double round, and now it's McDonald. Caught from behind, thrown into the turf by Apolosi. Miller, Willett, and Matt Isaac. Dummying. Got it back to Pither. Cameron Pither on Serevi. Serevi holds on. Pither only a couple of metres out. The Australians desperate for points here, waiting for a scrum half to arrive. It's there with Willett. It's been intercepted. The penalty will be going to Australia, though. So Losi and Latenge called back for offside play. So the Australians will get another crack at them. But, of course, Fiji will get an opportunity to reset their defensive line as well. Willett. Richard Graham holding up the pass. Going himself, getting very close. It's a try! Richard Graham got it down somehow in there. And so the Australians are back in with a show of a comeback here. 19 points to 12. It's not over yet. Kick to come.
Well, the home ground advantage can stir up the emotions. It looked for all the world that Graham was pulled up there. Long pass from Willett. Graham was a little bit high on the tackle. It should have been stopped there. Serevi was dragged along. Hometown boy Richard Graham, that's got to be a double movement. But Australia will take it. Plenty of time. Possession is everything.
Serevi got away from Willett. Serevi shows it on the inside. Goes wide up to Sailosi. A knock on there, though. And Sailosi, Latenge knows that there was half an opportunity there for Fiji.
That's right. You usually see the Fijians cool cool, calm and collected. No Tangy slamming the ball down, a McEnroe type tantrum. Would give the Australians a little bit of heart that there might be a bit of panic from the Fijians as they look over their shoulder at Australia coming on the scoreboard.
Matt Isaac. Quick tap taken by Matt Isaac. Turns it back on the inside to Richard Graham. Penalty, they went back to 10. McDonald. Wrapped up, ball and all. The tackler, Williami Satala. Matt Isaac. John Rowe. Graham. Richard Graham. That's the 22. Willett gives it to John Rowe. Matt Isaac dummying. John Rowe stepping. Where's the support? Willett is there. Willett's away. Andrew Willett dots it down between the sticks. It's a try to Australia. It's locked up at 19-19. Delight on the bench. Kick to come from right in front.
Willett to attempt his own conversion. What a tackle to slip out of. Less than a minute to go in this game. John Rowe popped the ball up. Willett slipped what should have been an easy tackle. But we can get to have another look at it, which we've got to wait for the conversion at 19 all. Andrew Willett, he'll be doing some thinking.
The flag is up. The Aussies back in front again.
Willett here puts the fend on. And Satala just slips straight down. Incredible scenes. Andrew Willett under the post. Have a look at the face on him. 40 seconds to go. Calm down. The Australians can't shut up shop. The Fijians need about 3 seconds to be able to turn this game.
Will this be the greatest night in Australian sevens for this World Series? They cannot afford to go to sleep though. Apolosi got it back. Ferro is still out there in fact. Now it's Serevi. Can he wield some magic? Serevi got away from one. He's got Delasau with him. Serevi chased by Richard Graham. Serevi, the little master, has done it for his country yet again, has he? Yes!
Oh my goodness!
What about that? Waisali Serevi, the heartbreaker, just as the Australians thought they had done enough to knock over the hot favourites and win their first ever World Series Sevens title. Heartbreak for Glenn Ella. Delight for Waisali Serevi. He had a go, he took them on, and it's 24-21.
What a brilliant player to overcome the raw emotion that was reverberating around this stadium with Australia locked in. There are players everywhere. The security staff cannot stop the pure, unadulterated joy of Fijian fans as they mob this genius of a sevens player, Waisali Serevi. He'd done all the hard work, and in the end, it could have all been undone when the Australians almost stopped him planting the ball. What a brilliant superstar.
Well, it's mayhem here. The Fijian supporters on there to worship their hero.
Could that be his greatest moment in sevens? To bring them back from the brink of defeat. Not the brink, they were down the cliff and almost gone.
So Fiji have done it. They've won it 24-21 with all the mayhem. I don't know if he had a shot at the conversion attempt. It's not required anyway because it's full time. 24-21. The Australians can hold their heads high. The Fijians will celebrate. But they know now that it's not a one-horse or even a two-horse race this World Series. The Australians have arrived.
Fantastic of it by the Australians to even get that close.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the crowd helped us enormously and it picked us up, and every time we just improved every game until we hit the finals and just let down on a few mistakes.
Disappointing, but sevens rugby well and truly alive in Australia right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're building each tournament. Then I just told the boys to remember that one and we'll bring it back out in Hong Kong.
Well, Glenn, I know you're proud of your players. The difference between the two teams, no doubt, Waisali Serevi.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. The guy's a freak, and he's proven it year after year. You know, we had our opportunities there. We missed a couple of one-on-one tackles, which we hadn't done the last couple of games, and at the end of the day, it cost us.
There it is, the scenes of delight again for Fiji. They have now won 4 tournaments on the IRB circuit this year. New Zealand have won 3. Australia cracked the mould of the 2 finals being the same at every tournament and gave it a wonderful flourish, leading in just the last seconds with the try under the post, which was converted by Andrew Willett, his own try, and that was a wonderful moment for the Aussies. But then it took the genius of Waisale Serevi to win the game again for Fiji at 24-21.
And there it is, the new World 7 Series standings, with Fiji opening up an 8-point lead at the top. Just how crucial will that New Zealand defeat here prove, with now 7 events gone? The tour next moves on to Hong Kong in late March, where 24 teams will compete in arguably the most prestigious event on the Rugby Sevens calendar. And more points will be available to the teams chasing World Series honours.